I am now trapped. God damn it, what is this? Hey guys, I'm BlueBlade11, and today I'm gonna be playing some Shadowverse. Let's get into it. So if you haven't seen the more recent JCG results, you may have already noticed that Invincible Monster Trio is a goddamn great card. 100% stops at Worldcraft Worldcat combo. Solid deck with access to turn 7, turn 8 power plays. Usually is able to finish the game outright from 20-0 on turn 7, turn 8 by virtue of sheer value from Invincible Monster Trio after getting enough shadows to invoke your Gremory on that turn 7 Invincible Monster Trio, and then you still have 7 mana to play around with to do all kinds of other very strong deck right now. The only reason that it didn't dominate the meta earlier is that this deck doesn't build itself. And because it doesn't build itself, obviously it's going to take time to optimize something for tournament play. Look at it go. This particular build takes advantage of a streamlined Natura package in using Confectioner to, I don't think everybody knows this, Sarcophagus Wraith actually has a Natura tag. So Confectioner in this deck functions to pull both Night of the Living Dog and Sarcophagus Wraith. Sarcophagus Wraith is just a very good generic card draw. The 6-mana enhance is also good for creating your own board, creating shadows, giving you more card draw, giving you bodies on board, winning back tempo on board on turn 6. Night of the Living Dog is great even without Deterrent Trees because you can use it for recession fodder, you can use it for hand dump. There's definitely some games, more so with the fact that you're using both Confectioner and Sarcophagus Wraith for card draw, that you're going to be overflowing on hand, and having a 1-mana hand dump is just great for these situations. Gremory is there, obviously, because Gremory is a great card. It enables your Invincible Monster Trio combos. Great for activating all those Necromancy payoff effects, Legendary Skeleton, Shooting Doji as well. Necro Impulse, that's another new card. Fatal Order, He Who Once Rocked, great combo. And then with the way this deck works, as long as you don't Burial Rite your guilt, never ever Burial Rite your guilt. He Who Once Rocked will always resurrect Invincible Monster Trio. Such a great bloody card. I mean, come on. Rushbeam Ward stops your opponent from spamming followers, destroys an enemy follower when it dies, which is bloody amazing. It clears out anything guaranteed. It has 6 HP, so most trades, it will survive. And then, cherry on top, it deals 3 damage to the enemy leader at the end of the turn. Burn effect for your lethal damage. Something I found very interesting about some of the builds, shadow builds I've been looking at is Zawerdator in the Melteo slot. It's a great card. Great anti-aggro, punishes your opponent for dealing chip damage to you early. Other consideration for dropping Melteo for Zelgania is the Melteo is the Lover's Reanimate, because that Lover's Reanimate will resurrect some not so great targets in this deck. Confectioner and Sarcophagus Wraith, when you reanimate those, are kind of utter garbage. I can definitely see the reason why a lot of lists are cutting Melteo for Zelgania, because it's similar function, same playpoint usage, so definitely something to consider. And without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, and today's deck is most likely owing to be Wardhaven. So against Wardhaven, I suppose you do have good removal options. You have great border options. If you can get to turn 7, and a lot of games you will get to turn 7 against Haven, you should be able to pull the Monster Trio combo into heavy board value against Wardhaven. And Wardhaven, in my experience, playing the Ward into Shadow matchup doesn't usually have stable options. Early Anvil is still always a pain. That's nice. It's actually very nice. The way that this deck is built, you have Skeleton and... Okay. That's Skeleton and Shooting Doji for Bane followers that just give you value trades. The fact that you're not using Melteo makes... Oh, what's that 2-mana 1/2 gold Bane Machina that summons a bunch of androids? Makes that slightly less worthwhile, definitely. Ramil is definitely a pain here, but Just gonna have to use follower board value to gain back the tempo. Ouch. I can double saving slash next turn, especially. Oh, I'll just use it once. That works too. So let's play Gremory then. Or the Gremory. Yeah, not sure what else to say about that. Early to mid turns, it does kind of rely on the Zolkinia for the board value, I suppose. That's annoying. Infection into sarcophagus into confection into sarcophagus. Saving my evolves for next game. Can I burial right monster trio into Fatal Water? I don't know if that's a good idea though, because I still do want to save the monster trio for turn 7. Yeah, I think we'll just go with the sarcophagus. Slaps with the sarcophagus, use the zombie that I spawned from the amulet to trade in. Shadows be damned. Looks like we're only gonna be able to get that turn 8 Gremory off though, but should still be fine. Even if you handbelts here, it's only one body, very easily removable. Turn 8 shit if it is an issue. Don't have anything particularly valuable to reanimate with He Who Wants Rocked. Stride followers. I'm resurrecting a Lich at best. Nah, stuff it. Gonna trade that in. Get that. Very nice. Monster trio. Dealing that chip damage. Giving me a Warden bod. Giving this Miasuke's player a difficult time. Because he's not going to be able to easily trade into it without stuffing over his board. I will have this Xenia act. Yeah, that's a thing that happens, unfortunately. This is other great thing about Zolkinia over Milteo. Board space. Board space is nice. Board space is always nice. And then just put another Bane on board. With all these Banes on board, he's gonna have a difficult time doing anything, really. Yeah, I was actually kind of half expecting that. We can Fatal Order. I shouldn't do Fatal Order. Necro Impulse. Is that lethal? Ooh, oh, it is lethal. Yeah, so definitely some nice damage options for turnarounds between He Who Wants Rocked and Kochi Daio, Necro Impulse. You can deal a lot of damage in one turn. So the key is to hit one of your 3 mana 1/2 draw 2s, which is pretty easy considering you're on 6 of them. I'm gonna hold the living dogs for later turns where I can trade into enemy followers. Gremory here for gaining more shadows. Maybe he who once rocked next turn, probably. I may be facing a control deck. We'll see if I'll survive. We'll see. That's annoying. There we go. 9 of the weapons up. Draw some cards. There we go. Sarcophagus. We were looking for this. 3 mana. Draw 2. Evolve Sarcophagus. Trade it in. Gremory for chip damage, and I can already feel this game being a little bit tougher than it should be. We will see, we will see. So if he doesn't push me into 8 shadows next turn, I'll just shoot in Doji, because I don't actually want to activate his necromancy effect too early. If I'm activating that necromancy effect before the Gremory's active, then I'm gonna lose 8 shadows, and that's a major setback when you're trying to get that turn 7, turn 8 invocation for Invincible Monster Trio. It's not gonna be this guy's not going to be able to activate my Zalginia effect next turn anyway, so that's an issue as well. It's an issue that I'm not going to have the Zalginia effect active. I'm hoping that he's going to activate my draw into Knight of the Living Dog. If he doesn't actually trade here, what I might do is shoot in Doji into field next turn, but now that's a non-factor. Too much necromancy. Draw cards, draw cards. Might get a bit trickier next turn. If he's able to somehow deal another 2 damage, well, he's not going to deal another 2 damage. I'm kind of really hoping that I'm able to... He who once rocked into something else that gives me shadows next turn. I'm not going to make it by turn 7. It's going to be a turn 8 Gremory invocation. That's if I'm even able to invoke the Monster Trio. Ooh, no. So if this hits the +1 attack next turn, or +1 cost next turn, I'm not going to be able to play Monster Trio, which is what I was thinking of doing next turn. Definitely going to be an issue if he board locks me. His turn 7 into my turn 7 into his turn 8 into my turn 8. And it's going to board lock me. Alright, what I need is that -2/2. I legitimately need that -2/2. If I don't get that -2/2, oh my god, I hate how reliant on orange. This is... What a resurrection fate order, nothing. Ah, whatever. I think we're good goners anyway. To be fair, he hasn't been able to get the dimension travel. 4 mana 4/3 that gives the leader effect, and that's a combo he needs for the OTK Ragnar. He can still OT Ragnar on turn 10, but that does give me a little bit of breathing room in terms of being able to Invincible Monster Trio on turn 8 and turn 9, something like that. I do kind of need draw next turn in order to activate that turn 9 Gremory effect, because I'm definitely not activating it next turn. I wonder what he is considering. Okay. So next turn is either going to be the minus to all followers on board, or cost PP cost up on cards in hand. If it's PP cost up on cards in hand, I might have issues. You can't get the Ragnar combo off, but I'm not going to be able to get the monster trio off next turn either, so I might have already lost here. Oh, there it is. No, I still got this. So, what we're gonna do? A legendary skeleton. The objective is to not leave any force for him to crash into. Perfect. If he has the capsule homunculus, I'm still fucked. It was nice knowing you guys. Definitely an issue when your hand picks that hard with all those monster trios. Something you definitely don't want to happen. That's part of what all those burial rites in the deck are for, but Sacristan is probably a legitimate consideration for this deck, but I'm not sure which slots you would swap it out for. Maybe could have won that if I held off on the Necro Impulse on that turn 7 and tried to activate Gremory's effect on turn 8 and turn 9. But definitely unfortunate. Total toss out, and hopefully we'll draw into something that can actually be used for draw. I think one of good combos for turn 7 is monster trio into path to perdition. Turn 7, because then you end up with 3 monster trios on the board, one of which has Storm. That only really works if you're able to bury right a monster trio into a secondary monster trio by turn 7 while having the Gremory effect active, which is honestly a bit of a higher roll, but not totally impossible. Unfortunately, it does seem that with the way that the pacing of this particular build of the deck works, I'm only able to activate Gremory's effect by turn 8 on average at best, it looks like. Definitely a deck you want to be playing around a turn 8 finish. Maybe there's a line of play that helps you accelerate to a turn 7 Gremory effect, but I'm not seeing it happening at the moment, especially since you swap out Milteo for the world, you're losing that form of Gremory acceleration, because Milteo on turn 5, excuse me for a second, Milteo on turn 5 does offer you a draw 2 cycle through your deck, as well as extra shadows, extra bodies on board, because you bury a right 2 and then you reanimate another 2 followers, so that's 4 shadows as opposed to world. Overall, world is still better in the deck, especially since Milteo, part of Milteo's benefit is reanimating followers, and there aren't really any great followers to reanimate in this deck, as I've said before. 3 mana 1/2 reanimate is complete trash. If there is an alternative way of building the deck, it's definitely in terms of a more reanimate oriented Milteo build. So it looks like this guy is playing a very similar build to what I am. Definitely has a lot more shadows than me. I wish I had that many shadows. It's not a big deal here. Do I save my pulse? I mean, I can save them for other turns, but I'm not sure exactly what I'll be using them on, is the thing. That's interesting. So the fact he's running Jack Shovel does suggest to me that he is running a build that definitely Jack Shovel's great for giving you extra bodies to work with in terms of guild. Death Vow is another deck tech choice that I've seen floating around in the more Milteo oriented builds. Necro Impulse adds to the shadow count. Yo. Being on full hand actually isn't too bad since you do benefit from the extra shadow you gain, and I might just evolve here for extra board turn actually. Gives him something to deal with, gives me a bit of breathing space. Evolve here, I still haven't evolved for turn 7, maybe turn 8 if I need to evolve in turn 8. Yeah, slow turn for him there. Honestly, could probably achieve a similar effect. That was something I kind of actually needed there. God damn it, not gonna lie. That's annoying. Gremory then. Alright, so I have one Gremory left in the deck. I can't remember how the ordering works. If it's Gremory before I'm set, if it's Gremory after, I'm kinda stuffed. Should be able to turn around this game next turn though, hopefully. Between Invincible Monster Trio into Invincible Monster Trio. Or maybe Invincible Monster Trio into Path of Perdition. Depends on how much board he actually has. Honestly, Path of Perdition on turn 8 is probably a better line of play. Path of Perdition, very alright, but He Who Once Rocked on turn 8 into Fatal Order, and that's a great lethal I have right there, I think. Did someone say oh yeah, baby. And we'll evolve because I'm planning on that turn 8 finish. Yikes. Ow. So depending, it might actually be better for me to not Path to Perdition into He Who Once Rocked, because I'm trying to consider what the reanimate possibilities and necromancy possibilities are for me. Next turn. Yeah, here's a Ghana. Oh no, it's not. Alright. So he's going to have to trade a Monster Trio into Monster Trio. Can I get... They have 9 damage from Path. The Fatal Order? That's extra 5 on top of... I have enough damage, The Fatal Order. And that's game, set, match. Grand total of 16 damage. That's a lot of damage if you ask me. He was stuck in a bad spot because if he had traded his Monster Trio there on his turn 8 into my Monster Trio, he would have been left with no board, and I would have done the exact same thing anyway. The benefit he gets from leaving his board up is because of the way Monster Trio works, after you kill them, they kill your board, so he was banking on me not being able to lethal damage after clearing his board. But yeah, definitely a strong deck. Once you get that Gremory effect off, you can build a board that not only clears your opponent's board, but deals a fair amount, like 75% of your opponent's HP in one turn, which is very, very lethal. Yeah, definitely a strong deck for sure. I didn't have a chance to showcase the matchup against Evolve Sword, but definitely a strong deck against Evolve Sword. You may have a few issues in the mid game, but once you get to that late game stage where you have the Gremory effect active, where you're playing your Banes and your board removals, up until that point, you're just trying to activate your Confectioner's Sarcophagus draw engine to activate the Gremory effect. You have pretty okay board control, especially with the world Against Wardhaven, you have spell removal options, Invincible Monster Trio, just memes on Wardhaven pretty hard. Even if you don't want to attack into Wheelbeard's Ward effect, Burn damage effect, you leave that Monster Trio on board and your enemy is going to be left in a difficult position. There will be issues with Wardhavens that run a lot more banishes. I've noticed some Wardhavens opting out to swap out Holy Counter Attack for Blind Justice, so they have access to more banish. That is an issue for Shadow, because not only are they denying your Last Words effect, they're also denying your Shadows, they're denying your Followers Destroy to proc your Sarcophagus effect, which can be an issue at times. Artifact Portal, I haven't really played that specific matchup since I don't have Artifact Portal crafted, and I only just started playing mid-range Shadow, so I can't really comment on that specific matchup. That Control Portal matchup for sure, definitely not something you run into too often, so not something you have to worry about too much when you're climbing a ladder. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, hope you learned something new today. Fun deck for sure, and yeah, drop a comment in the section below about how you feel about Shadow rising up in the middle once more. This invincible deck combo. Yeah. I'm Blue Wave 11, and now I'll see you next time. Peace.